Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I haven't made one in a while, so I figured I'd make a cool video on what I'm up to. So I've been experimenting with Meraki high availability mode across their firewalls. So right here I have a basic test network set up. I have two Cisco Meraki MX450s, and I have a Cisco Meraki, I think it's an MS225-48 48P, it's not PoE or anything. And then I have a MS220-48 LP, I believe, PoE switch for the switching. And then I have a MR46 access point for the AP. And my MacBook is connected to the AP, which is broadcasting a test network. So how I have this set up is my main home network coming in, feeds this switch, so acts like this is like the ISP coming in, and it hits this switch, which is acting as a WAN switch. Yes, it's overkill. I just wanted to test this 48 port switch out, so that's why I decided to use it. But realistically, there should not be anything else plugged into here because it's the WAN. For this setup, I don't think this is how a professional setup would be. I believe each one of these routers would have their own independent internet connections, so two separate WAN connections coming directly into the SFPs, or two fibers coming into it. And the reason why I say it is my setup, like I said, I'm using a WAN switch. But the issue with that is that even though the second firewall is not doing anything, it does have to have a constant connection to Meraki Cloud. Therefore, it is using internet. And I don't believe you can have two firewalls sharing the same public IP using the internet. I don't know. I'm still learning about networking, so I couldn't tell you. It works on my situation because it's NATed and it has two IP addresses. So like this is 10.131.1.1. It's not really, but and this would be 10.131.1.2. Whatever. So yeah, firewalls are uplinked to the WAN switch, and then from the firewall, just have two Ethernet cables made that come down to the little 24-port access switch. So for both of the uplinks, one's for primary, one's for failover. And then obviously we have our access point plugged into that. So if I go into speed test and I do a speed test, we can see my speeds are kind of good, kind of bad. I have Starlink internet, so as per right there, it's basically Starlink. So it's not really the best, and I'm double natted, so yeah. So what we'll do is we will start a constant ping to Google. That way we can watch this, or to Cloudflare DNS. Oh, actually, before I do that, let me show the dashboard. Okay, so this is the dashboard that I have here. The way this works is whenever you're configuring the firewall, they're configured exactly the same, and it doesn't actually let you configure them differently. So example, if I go into addressing in VLANs, which is where you create like the network, I just have a default network name, 10.0.0.0/24, and I just have all the ports enabled as trunk native VLAN 1, allow all. You can't actually configure the two firewalls differently. You can configure, if we go to the appliance status, and then we go to, down here we can see primary spare. If I hit spare, we can configure the static IP of the secondary firewall, but that's like about the only thing you can change differently. So that's actually a good thing, because we don't want one firewall to have one configuration and the other one to have another configuration, and then when we fail over, like half the internet doesn't work or something, some stupid example like that. So right now the internet is flowing through firewall 1 right there, as for my crappy handwriting. We are flowing through firewall 1, so I'm going to unplug firewall 1, and all the internet and all the data will fail over to firewall 2. So let's go ahead and do this. Actually, let's start my constant ping, and we will go ahead and unplug firewall 1, the primary firewall. As we can see, we are request timing out, and now we are back. We have switched over to the secondary firewall. That was actually a pretty quick failover. That's pretty cool. If we go to the Meraki dashboard, it does take a second for it to realize, but now we can see that the primary is unreachable, and the spare is the current master, which means all the network connectivity is flowing through the master. that means also on my switch, what one was the uplink? This cable right here, this port was the uplink, but now this port's not the uplink. Now that port would be the uplink, since it's failed over. And we can see it's just blinking away. Firewall 2 is still, I don't know what's going on with my camera, but Firewall 2 is still the main router. And if we do a speed test, it should be pretty much the same speeds. It shouldn't be any different because it's, oh, unless it is, because it's Starlink, like I said, gives me a hard time sometimes. Yeah, that's probably Starlink. But anyways, what we'll do now is we will plug the internet back into the primary firewall. And we'll see if we can catch it failing over or going back to primary. There it was for a second. So we are now back on, we can see like oh, there we go. That one little blip, that was it going back to the primary firewall. So now, Firewall 2 is now just standing there for redundancy, and Firewall 1 is now our main firewall. In the Meraki dashboard, we can also swap primary and spare firewalls automatically. That way, if you wanted to work on or replace or whatever the primary firewall, we can swap all internet operations over to the secondary firewall. So I'll go ahead and do that. We'll watch it here. Or not. I'm sorry, I'm looking over the dashboard to see what's going on. There we go. There. That was it swapped. That one took a little bit longer this time. It's kind of weird. But now, we are now running on firewall number 2 as our primary, and we can unplug this one if we really wanted to and take it. That was the IP is doing something weird, but we can unplug this one and perform maintenance on it. And theoretically too, if it's not offline, I can unplug this one and it will fail back over to firewall 1. At least it should. Actually, let's try that. So 2 is our primary right now. We'll unplug firewall 2. We should fail over to firewall 1. And we did. That's pretty cool. So it is fast. Until it's not, I guess, but it does work pretty well. But anyways, thank you so much for watching this quick little video. I know it's kind of boring, and I'll make sure to make videos about this stuff more. And then I definitely have some videos I want to do with my Catalyst, not my Catalyst, but my Cisco 5508, I believe, wireless LAN controller, and set up like an early 2000s or late 2000s networking setup instead of this new Meraki stuff. But anyways, I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next one.